Hello, welcome to ACE Manager. Process and Governance Focus. ACE 48. How do we clean up vendor master? This issue, on the face of it, looks like a systems problem, but it is more an organizational concern emanating from poor governance practices. People who are familiar with ERPs or integrated applications will endorse this as a common problem. In medium and large organizations where such computerized systems are in use, general tendency is to add vendors in the master and leave them there even if they are one-time vendors and are not likely to get a second order. Thus, vendors who were created 4 or 5 years ago may remain in the master even if no further purchase orders have been released on them. If the organization has operations at multiple locations with head office as well as branch locations releasing purchase orders, problem gets aggravated. Apart from this aspect, another reason that can contribute to increase in vendors is erroneous duplicate entries when proper scrutiny of the vendor master is not done every time user finds the need to create a new vendor in the master. Similarly, in the case of large vendors who also have multiple location presence, duplicate records can get created with different addresses. Periodical cleanup is required to keep the vendor master within reasonable size. Otherwise, with many redundant records in the master, system can become inefficient. More importantly, operationally, it can cause problems. Even in accounting, a vendor balance can get distributed over multiple accounts and cause confusion. What happens if two such large organizations merge? The problem increases manifold. I had the unique opportunity to witness such a situation. Let me explain the case. It was an organization with multiple location operations and had a centralized purchase function with an ERP system in use for some years. Certain low-value purchase orders were decentralized, for which individual locations also could add vendors. Over a period of time, number of vendors increased manifold due to vendor induction process without proper scrutiny of the existing vendors, and variants could be due to vendor's name wrongly spelt as well. Number of line items in the vendor master crossed 10,000. Another equally large organization with similar business and operations and locations merged with this organization, doubling the line items in the vendor master once both the company's systems were integrated. Duplicate line items were many because both companies dealt with the same set of vendors. Even vendor ledgers could show advances in one account and payable for supply against the same in another account. Apart from placing avoidable loads on the system, operational difficulties were many. Accounts payable manager of the combined entity spent 1 month deleting duplicate vendor records in the master and could manage just 5% of records in total. In the sense, vendor master records came down from 20,000 to 19,000. CFO of the company commented that at this rate, you will take 3 years to reduce the vendors to the realistic list. Let me explain the solution. I was retained by the combined entity to help in addressing integration issues. I suggested the following steps. Make all vendors in the master inactive, of course, and a copy of the master. Pick up all open purchase orders, meaning orders against which supplies or services are to be received, and retain all vendors pertaining to those purchase orders as active vendors in the master. There were about 1,500 such open purchase orders, and vendors pertaining to those orders were about 750. All those vendors to whom monies were advanced or monies were due from them in the financial records were another 500 vendors. These vendors also were added in the active master. In all, about 1,250 vendors were active in the updated vendor master. Information relating to other vendors who were in the master earlier remained intact, and such vendors were left as inactive vendors. Such vendors could be activated as and when required. Data relating to these 1,250 vendors who are kept active, namely address, their names, contact details, PAN, bank account, etc., were all validated. If any vendor was to be moved from the inactive list to the active list, validation was first done on the above parameters. Thus, vendor master with over 20,000 records was reduced to one with 1,250 records, which was adequate from operations perspective. In the governance of procurement function, this is an important aspect. Trust you have enjoyed the solution. Thank you very much for your attention.